Okay, so let's carry on with our tutorial on the Lego brick. We've got one Lego brick here at the moment. And well, we want to work out how on earth we are going to make lots of Lego bricks. Well, one of the things we can do, move this out a little bit, is something called duplicate. So I've selected this one here, cylinder.001, and I'm going to do Shift D. If I do that and then move the mouse away, you'll see I've got another Lego brick. Generally, you'd press X, Y, or Z, and then left click, and there we go, we've got another one. But it's the same colour. Well, that's a bit boring. Let's change the colour of this one here to green, and they've both changed to green. What have we done? Well, we've got this material called material. So if I click on this first brick here, it's got material called material, and the second brick, also the same material. But it's got a number 2 next to it. That means it is the second thing that's actually using this material. Well, I'm going to go to this one here. Let's just click in this box and call it green brick. So that just helps us know what that material is. If I click on this block, and I'm going to click on this number. And instead of green brick.001, I'm going to call it yellow brick. And change it to yellow. There we go. And now I'm going to Shift and D to duplicate. On the Z-axis, I'm going to press the number, and it's going to be red brick. Now you can do as many different coloured bricks as you want. And you can use colours that aren't particularly used in much Lego. It's completely up to you. Let's just, for the sake of the fact that our reference one is blue, we will do blue. Now what you can do is, if I click on this little dropper, if you've got a picture of a colour you want to use, click on that, and then if I can click just on the blue bit there, it has picked the blue. Oh, I've been silly, I've clicked it without changing that. So make it independent user, blue brick, go back to this one and make it red. So you can use reference images to get colours exactly right. So we've now got 4 different bricks. So what on earth do we want to do with these 4 different bricks? Well, we now want to make it so these can fall down to earth with a bang. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, grab Z up here, grab Z up here, grab Z, grab Z. Well, they're all on top of each other, it's a bit boring. Let's move one a little bit over like that on the X-axis. This one, let's rotate on the Y, because it's all looking a little bit too much in place at the moment. So the only thing we want to make sure is they're not inside one another, which, looking at it, they're not. Great, so we've got 4 Lego bricks, and I'm going to add on the ground just a basic plane for now. Make it nice and big. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these things called rigid bodies. And all it is, it's just a type of, animation physics sort of thing that like physically renders how these would fall and move. So on this plane at the bottom, I'm going to go Object, Rigid Body, Add Passive. And that means it doesn't move. It can be controlled, like it's part of the physics, but it doesn't actually move and fall through the air. And now each of these ones up here, if we go to Object, Animation, Rigid Body, sorry, Add Active, Object, Rigid Body, Add Active, Object, Rigid Body, Add Active, Object, Rigid Body, you've guessed it, Add Active. I'm just going to get rid of our picture at the moment to get rid of the eyeball. So we've got these things. Now you may have noticed, may have accidentally hit space to make this run through. Now if I press play, what you'll see is the cubes will fall. It's not necessarily smooth time-wise. And when they hit the plane, they will react as if they're actual blocks. And that is our first animation. We've got all of these things on here. So let's go back to the start. Let's put it into our world. So this is with the lighting that we've got. space, they fall down. We have an animation of Lego blocks falling. Obviously this is only 4. You can do all sorts of things. If I click on all of these, Shift and D, move these on the Y a little bit, Shift and D, move them on the Z, rotate them on the X, go up a little bit more. See what I mean? We can just add in lots and lots, press space again, and it will animate them. Because I've duplicated them after they were physics, rigid body, they will all bounce off things. So in essence, what we've got here is an animation of all of these different objects. I'm not going to go too much further with this because obviously this is quite basic, but what you may want to do is you can decide that this bit at the bottom, I'm going to make it the same green as these because it's Lego. Or actually don't need to do that. Click on this bit here. Let's use green brick. You can make this one, so let's go for 5 and 7. I can do little cylinders on here, exactly the same as we did on the blocks. So nice and small, so that this is a base plate. So we might scale Z, make it a bit smaller. Let's go to the side, 5 and 1. So it gets a bit tricky because you can't see everything you've got. So that's that one. We don't need to do the underneath of these. If I make this one green, and then same as before, let's use an array modifier on it. You can also obviously do the Lego writing on these if you want to. I'm not going to do this for this video. 1.3, let's do something like 50. How far does that go? A bit too many. Let's go 40. There we go, that's about right. Add another array. Also do 40, but instead we're going to go on the y-axis 1.3. There we go. Now we've got our Lego. I'm going to apply these. Then shift and click on the base and Control J to join. Now we've got our Lego base. So what you're doing is bit by bit creating your animation. Press space, you can see all the blocks moving down again. You've got the light that come through the light source and they fall onto here. Just like that. I'm going to give us a little bit more light in the scene and going to get inside this camera. Now this is the view that the camera will see. So let's move back a little bit so it sees the end of the animation. So let's see what happens. Press play, it sees the blocks falling down on top of each other. You can decide that, no, I don't like that. I would like to see a little bit more of the scene. So you might want to zoom out a little bit further. Like so. So you see as they fall into the scene. I'd suggest when you do yours, you don't have them all exactly the same position because that gets a bit dull. You can have hundreds of blocks if you want, but make sure to save it, which I'm going to do now. So I've got this. I'm going to do my animation in Eevee, not Cycles. Although Cycles is really good, it will take a very long time to animate this scene. Whereas with Eevee, it shouldn't take too long. Now there are a few settings we do need to set up for the animation side of things. Firstly, on the render engine settings, we need to click on Simplify. In a scene like this, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference, so it will just speed things up. We don't worry about screen space reflections because actually none of this is particularly reflective as a material. Now the output settings are important. If we go down to the little output tab here, we've got a few settings that are really important. Firstly, this temp bit here, this is where the file actually saved to. So we need to change. If we click on the folder, Now you can obviously click your OneDrive or your own area. I'm going to click on Documents. I'm going to give it a name, Lego Animation, and accept it. So that's the first thing. It's going to say where it's going to save it to, but it's the wrong file format. If you look down here, it says file format PNG, which is a picture. That's not going to help us. We need to change that to FFmpeg video. And the encoding we need to change to be MP4. Now, if you were to set this to render now, it wouldn't actually render properly. You wouldn't see any of the blocks moving. So what you need to do is do something called bake the animation. And to do this, we go to the scene properties and our rigid body world. So obviously our world of all our physics. And finally, this cache part. And this just stores all the animation temporarily. And we just need to click on bake. What it will do, doesn't take very long at all. It just saves every single position of motion. What you can do now is you can go to render. Render animation should take about 10 minutes to do it like this. So perhaps even less time than that. Get comfortable and see what can happen. So when it's finished rendering out, you'll see the last frame on the screen. You don't actually need to go save because this just saves individual frames. If you wanted to, you could go render and view animation, and it would show the animation running through inside Blender. But if you navigate to where you decided to save the file to, so if I go to here and I saved it just in my documents, you'll see it will say like, Lego animation followed by the numbers of the frames. So if I double click on this here, I have got the animation saved as a video file. So you can do that. You've got the file now, and you can upload this file here to Teams. So that's the animation. Obviously, you might want to make it better, have more Lego bricks, have better lighting and stuff like that in the scene. But that's pretty much what you got to do. So give that a go, send it in, and we'll see what marks you get.